Today we talk about owning your spice, ditching the boxes, leading with awareness, brain meets body, and impact through clarity.
Rambling on, no straight lines. Welcome to my busy mind.
Hello and welcome to Ramblings of a Busy Mind, episode 33. No, 30, yeah, 33. You got we call that a Schnapszahl in German. So the liquor number, 33. It's two numbers together, so it's a Schnapszahl. And I have a wonderful person with me who I met at a conference for neurodiversity and suicide prevention. And she's put me down the rabbit hole to the point that I think we talked for 45 minutes last time, and it created 10 articles. 10 blog posts. That's Cara Jean Wilson, who is the creator of the Cara. I said I boggle it. Cara Jean Wilson, the creator of the Cara method, and she has a spice rack of executive coaching at operational leadership price. It's a mouthful.
It is. Welcome to the Spice Rack. We're so glad to have your flavor here.
Sorry, that's gonna be one of those shows where I'm in shits and giggles the whole time just because I feel the person so much. And I can watch you all the time. So you work with Neuro Spicy people, and I want to explain because I didn't work with that label. So maybe explain Neuro Spiciness for others.
Yes. So there is a lot of controversy around this title. I love all of that for everyone else. I choose Neuro Spicy because I think each brain comes with its own flavor. I reject it's neurodivergent adjacent. I respect that there are degrees of neurodivergence. However, to just say neurodivergent, we understand neuroplasticity. That means everybody. Everybody is neurodivergent. However, some people are neurodivergent in like a salt type of spice, and other people are like ghost pepper. There's a spectrum to the spice of the human brain. So I consider us neuro spicy, and we just are so glad that your flavor is here.
And now you can see why she's making me laugh all the time. Very interesting is that I was a novice to the terminology when we met. And I have learned that I have my flavors, yes. And some of them are in the spectrum, as they're called. But it's interesting since having had the talk and having the conversations with you is how much I'm aware that others are not aware. Which is a big thing because it puts people in places where they're not comfortable and where they cannot cope and where they're not able to be their best because there are expectations to be a certain way and they cannot fulfill them.
That need to be a certain way. Isn't that just one of the funniest things that humans do? No one enjoys it. Nobody likes having to fit in or be a specific kind of way. And yet somehow we have this amorphous, generic kind of idea of what that is supposed to be, which is not true. What we actually know is what we don't like people to do. There's no manual on how you're supposed to be. And yet we are all so individually consumed with making sure we are how we're supposed to be.
Well, they want to, and it comes, I don't know why. No, I know why, but it all comes back down to the box that makes it easy for somebody else to function. But it doesn't make it easy for you to function. So respect towards the other person should allow the other person to function in a way that it's working for them and me. So a compromise instead of and you have both sides. Honestly, I had people that call themselves neurodivergent and they say, oh, I'm like this and it doesn't go any other way. And I had people that don't fall or in that category and they say, no, it doesn't work this way and it has to be this way. Why is it so hard for humankind to find a common denominator and a common language and a common decency to allow the other person to express? What does it? Because we're
It's
nurse.
because it is, right? So here's the thing about boxes. I look, boxes get a bad rap. People get real mad. Like they don't, nobody wants to be put in a box. I get that. That's like Schrodinger's human. Nobody wants that. I get it. And boxes exist inside our brain, my brain, your brain, everybody's brain, because that's how we organize information. We need those boxes. Those are an important facet of understanding how it's like a filing system. It's our own personal Dewey Decimal, right? The problem, the thing that gets really weird, and it's weird in my BS, in my belief system, one of the weirdest things that humans do is we have these boxes as ways of organizing information in our brain. And then we expect other people to fit into those spaces that are literally in our own brain that no one else knows about. And we're like, you're not doing the thing my box says you're supposed to do. And we think there's something wrong with them rather than going, oh, maybe there's more space in my box than I thought.
True. And for me, as I said, I don't like boxes. I don't like to be put in boxes, and I don't like to put others in boxes. So that's that's where I don't get it. Because I find it so much interesting, like having you and then having somebody who's completely strict in the show, and I can interact with both of you because I can adapt to
Yeah.
what you are and what I am can fit together. It might not fit if I don't like you, but that's the point, like, right? And I've had conversations with people where I felt completely at a loss what they were talking about, but they were still able to communicate it. And some were talking about things that I knew by heart and I couldn't get any what they were saying. So why not make the effort to come to a same place or to find the resonance and not be like, this is mine and it has to be my way. That's
I,
ah,
right?
my
I mean,
deep.
it's fixed and growth mindset. This forms this is more of my BS, my belief system. So part of the reason that I chose Neuro Spicy is because as far as I'm concerned, how I understand currently neurotypical and neurodivergent is neurotypical is a fixed mindset. It is the one thing that we know all humans have because at some point as a meat suit full of hormone soup, you have had to survive trauma and drama. That's the human tax of being a meat suit full of hormone soup, right? Like it's emotional intelligence 101. So everybody has this. Everybody has this part of their brain that is literally built to help them survive, not thrive, but survive, right? That's what the fixed mindset is for. Great if you are trying to run away from a tiger that's chasing you. Not so great if somebody hurt your feelers because your brain will react the same way. Neurodivergence is the growth mindset, is the decision to get curious, to remember that you do know, regardless of what your nervous system is telling you right now, if you're not actually on fire, you're not actually being chased by a tiger, then some part of this is trying to teach you something. It's an opportunity to grow, to change, to make new connections. That's what the further more divergent you get on the spectrum, the more connection your brain makes.
Yeah.
Right. So choosing that growth, that connectivity space versus the fixed space, the whole space, if you would like to be able to navigate being neurotypical and neurodivergent at the same time, you need neuroregulation.
Yeah.
And that's where we fall apart, right? Because you're not fitting into my boxes. You're not doing what my brain says that it's supposed to be because my brain knows what's right or wrong for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's where, and I know that I've grown, like I was like that. I was like, I was this like here and it had to be this way. I was so
Mm-hmm.
bad that I couldn't even work with patterns in quilting because they would never fit together.
You're like, this is not right. Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, I like to color outside the box because who cares? It's me, it's my painting. And if I paint the whole painting in blue and it shows a flower, well, who cares? It's my painting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and still yeah, I maybe I'm too much an empath and too much compassionate for others, for what others need. But it really bugs me when people are not able to walk towards others and to agree to disagree. That's the best thing ever. Agree to disagree. You don't have to be of the same opinion, but at least allow them their own, right?
That, and get curious as to why they have that. Odds are pretty good. It's from some legitimate lived experience. That doesn't mean it is correct. That doesn't mean that it is the world's lived experience. But that lived experience can absolutely help shape and form your understanding of our shared lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
That's leadership 101.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which we usually don't even have of ourselves, right? The personal leadership
Right.
isn't there either for most people.
Right. And here's my new favorite statement around leadership, because I think it sums it up really, really well, whether it is personal leadership or exterior leadership, right? Is leadership is when we are ready to stop sitting across the table from someone and start sitting next to them so that we stop putting the problem between us, but in front of us. And I think that's true whether it's your own personal leadership and you're dealing with your own mind monsters or patterns and behaviors. If you're adversarial with that space, it's a lot harder to work through rather than making the problem something that you work on together. And then you put that same concept from internal structures into your external, whether you're running a board meeting or making sure the restaurant doesn't fall over in the middle of the peak rush, right? Either what all of those places requires that you put the problem in front of you rather than between you and the people you're working with.
And that's a cool
And we
concept.
don't do that.
No, and because nobody thinks that way. That's the other thing. We always like a round table. On a round table,
the problem is never a person.
Yes. The round table has the stuff in the middle. So you're always sitting opposite each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're not sitting next to each other. You're not, and I love that picture as a metaphor. Because yes, that's what it is. We're sitting next to each other in this boat and we row together. If one rows a different way, well, then we're circling and circling and circling, getting nowhere.
And we're both irritated and working way too hard.
And I think that's also good point for, as you said, leaders. How often we have teams where it's not working. And why doesn't it work? Because there's not a us, there is a me and them, or him and her, or whatever. There's not a coherence or resonance in the group. And that comes often from top down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Consistently. Vision has to come from top down. Solutions come from bottom up. The most irritating thing for me in leadership is when the executives are like, I've got the solution. Here's what you're going to do. Oh, tell me you do not understand leadership without telling me you do not understand. Bro, command and control is over. That wasn't even cute in the 80s, but we definitely worked away from it in the last half a century.
In Germany, say new brooms sweep well. So we had that actually in I have experienced that in multiple workplaces where there is a new boss coming in or a new manager and they think they know it all. And yeah, exactly. We had that when I worked at Siemens, they transferred the accounting department within 3 years to 3 different cities. So it went from one to the next and came back to the first one. You wouldn't believe the work that didn't get done, the problems that kept accumulating because nobody felt really responsible for it, right?
Yeah.
Didn't make sense, but it made sense for management.
Yeah. And they're like, why isn't this working so beautifully? Well, did you actually engage all your stakeholders? Oh, I didn't mean just your shareholders, but I do mean those. I mean the people who are actually at stake for this, not just your idea. And that we're right back to where we started, right? So we have these ideas, these boxes in our head, and we have this. We are so clear. Most people, have such great intention, and whatever story or theories or things they've concocted, they've usually made themselves out to be the hero who's going to come in and save the day with this great idea. But that's what happens when we're doing that alone in our room full of boxes inside our head rather than out in the world with the rest of the humans.
And that's where I get to value those conversations that I have on the podcast so much, because I've grown since I started them. I've grown so much, and I've experienced so many different things, and I like reflection. I like to reflect on what I do. I like to reflect, did I do right? Did I do wrong? And it's not in a meaning in a meaning that I might have wronged somebody, but is it up to my standards? Is it what I wanted to convey? Why did I get angry with the person that said this and that? And I have a colleague that was already on the podcast, and it happens almost every time we have a group discussions and he says something and I have to take a step back and go like, he doesn't mean like, so he triggers me. And it's not him, it's me, because there's something in the way he works or says things that I feel sometimes I'm not heard. Like I'm not really either not conveying what I'm saying right, or and it took me a minute to step back from the beginning and say, okay, it's his opinion. I don't have to defend myself. I have mine, he has his.
Yeah.
But it was
that need to be right or wrong.
Yeah, it was so interesting to see that he has, and these days it's like he says something and said, Natasha, I don't mean that well. Like I don't mean that. So it's a game between us now. But it was like, I don't know where that came from to this point. Right. And it's so interesting. But when you start reflecting on how you react and what you do, all of a sudden things change in perspective. They're not as heavy anymore, because you realize, oh yeah, I did that, but is it really important?
Yeah.
I
say awareness allows impact.
Absolutely. And awareness allows you power. It gives you power. It gives you the power to respond instead of react. It gives you the power to step back for a second, take a breath, and then go with what you want to say, and not with the emotion and not with the reaction, the knee-jerk reaction of, ooh, this is set this in a blur, and go like, and that's great. Like, but I love the way that you bring the Neuro Spicy, because again, you bring new words to the table for me, and you make them understandable for me in a way that I see, okay, I've seen that before. I just had no names for it. I had no language for it. So basically I learned a new language. Thanks to you.
You're not the first person to tell me that. I do think I speak. I mean, I think it's mostly English. There's some Spanish in it, and then a whole lot of acronyms. I do speak an entirely different language. That's accurate.
Yeah, but you make it understandable. That's what I was drawn to when I saw your presentation. It was even so, it made me realize that mine was totally off topic.
I thought yours was great. I followed along great.
Well, but
communication is a huge part of that.
From a different perspective, right?
Right.
But it's interesting, and then being able to switch around and make it work, because I heard you before. Otherwise, I think I would have been like totally off.
Yay! I love when we work together.
Yeah, and I think that the universe has synchronicity. So you get the people that you need at the times you need them. So I needed you before me, so I needed to know how to do mine.
You're like, I will switch this. This will work. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, that's the point of adaptability, to fit into whatever environment and whatever circle you're in, right? Not go with like, this is the way I do it and that's it. And I've never been like, I don't like scripts very much, because I'm way better in reading the room and then just playing the room, not playing, but playing with the room, making the room play with me, and go from there, instead of having a strict script and then nobody understands what I'm talking about.
That is why I have the frameworks, right? So I know that if I can rephrase things that we've already discussed back into the Cara method, that it's usually communicable. Like we talked about leadership. We talked about how we clarified that positive and negative are very relative to each person's brain. And then we assessed how you actually have to be able to move past that. You have to like literally trigger point therapy. I don't know if that's the correct term, but you have to go to the point of your trigger over and over again to learn it. But then when you realign, right, we assess that. Once you realign, then you get that awareness allows impact. And that's how you achieve that power and control that we all want in life. That thing that makes us feel like when we watch it in other people, we're like, wow, they just belong everywhere. But that's not it. It's just that they've figured out how to belong everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's why I'm driving taxi. I love talking to people, and it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what level of society or whatever, you're a human being. That's it. Period. And that's
Yes.
what I had said to oh my brain. The lady who ran the last summit that we were on, like the
Brandy.
Randy. Yes. I said to her, I said, I have an issue with the title of talking or communicating as neurodivergent people, because for me everybody is an individual, so I can rephrase it to communicating as diverse individuals.
Yes.
That's fine by me, but I don't use that label as neurodivergent, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I say neuro spicy. I just straight up reject neurodivert because everyone is in my BS, everyone is neurodivergent. So it is really just your particular spice. And that doesn't change the core, right? Like the core is that other people's brains do not work the same as my brain. And if I would like to liaison with some other meat suit, I'm going to need to have a very clear understanding of my brain so I understand what part of this is my BS and what part might be theirs and how that's impacting me so that I can communicate with somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's and I see that's the point even too when you don't have that understanding, how you can create even more overwhelm and go into the burnout because you're constantly trying to fulfill expectations that you cannot fulfill because they're not fitting into your picture of yourself and how you see the world
Yeah.
and then go. But what do you do with people who have you don't have that knowledge? What do you like again? Because otherwise you go totally one side, totally the other side. And there's very few things that go the middle way and tell you you can be both at the same time, or you can cater to both at the same time. You don't have to be one fixed. Like you can be neurospicy instead of neurodivergent or neurotypical, right?
Yes.
So
So that's right. Neuroregulation. So one of the ways that I teach neuroregulation as from a leadership lens is I talk about our magic three, right? There in a world, like we're going to simplify it down to like baseline basics, stupid simple. In a two-part world, there are things you can control and things you cannot control. They're just two things. That's it. Things you can and things. I acknowledge and understand that letting go of the things that you cannot control can be like an entire job of itself. We're going to set that reality aside for just a second. That's just two things. So you just let go of the things that you can control, and then there's only three things left: how you think, how you speak, and how you behave. And that's where I tend to start people who don't have a deep understanding of how other people, they're like just struggling with the burnout or the fact that they're always exhausted or that they don't feel they're living up to it or that they have that imposter syndrome, right? All of these ways that weight shows up in our life. So we just jack our energy back, and it's a slow process figuring out where we're wasting it. I spend an unreasonable amount of my 20s apologizing for the weather. I'm so sorry it rained on your big day. Like I had some control. I don't understand where that even. I'm a little tiny god in my head. My bad. I'm so sorry the internet went down. I don't have control over it, but if I did, I wouldn't have let that happen to you, friend. I'm so sorry. Bizarre. Bizarre. So we slowly start to pull back all of those places we're wasting our energy, and we focus it back in on how are we thinking? How are we speaking? And is that showing up in how we're behaving? And we can start to get feedback from other people on how we're behaving. And that usually is enough for people to be like, oh, I totally thought they were going to say this other thing. I totally thought I nailed that situation, that experience, that conversation, that presentation. I didn't expect to get anybody to be like, "Oh no, could have been better." And when we started, then we're like, "Oh, okay, so other people think different than me."
mm-hmm.
It's like a soft segue. into that space. And it gives us the opportunity to decide from that point in a leadership perspective whether or not we want to apply any of that information to us. So we don't have to. You don't have to. Other people may have all of the opinions about everything all day long, and that is correct for them. But we have to look at, does what they say help me match how I'm thinking and how I'm speaking to my behavior better? Does that in any way give me a tool or a point of view that could make me better at me? Not at them, but at me. And then we can start to bridge that gap.
I hear you in that, because when I came here first, I was typical German. Blunt, straight. You do this and you do that. Not, hi, how are you? Could you help me, please? So yes, I understand where you come from. And it took a little bit. And I see that in friends who came like lately, and when they're doing conversation, like if they're conversing in English, their English is German based, and German is always blunt and direct. It
Yes.
is the way that we communicate,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
To the point, and I never realized that so much. When I came first to Canada in not first, second time, but first time by myself with a friend. It was like 97 or something like that. And we did a tour, and I came back, and I just took on the habit of going into a shop and saying, hi, how are you? I did that in Munich, and they looked at me as if they wanted to call the loony bin. What do you want from me? Like, why are you friendly? You want something. What? It's interesting when you start thinking about that.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
These days I smile at everybody, because I'm like, I'm a happy person. I choose happy. So I walk down the street with a shit grin in my face, like,
Yep.
and people look at you and they smile back. But the first second, like if they don't know me, the first second is like, huh? And then comes the smile, right? But it's so interesting to say. And I tell my clients to do that, like, as a habit. Go out and smile at 10 people you don't know along the street.
Mm-hmm.
And most come back and say, that's so weird.
It's weird. It is weird. We are not groomed
So
and conditioned for that.
It's so easy, and it opens up the doors for everything.
But if you ask them to go do that to 20 dogs, they will hunt down dogs to smile at.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have like mine looks like he's grinning when he actually warns you. So people go like, oh, he smiles at me. I'm like, no, he warns you. He's just telling you to step away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And not just German, but so many cultures have been groomed and conditioned to be wary of other humans.
Hmm.
I mean, our biggest threat is ourselves. I mean, if a bear attacks me, I kind of knew that was coming. Like, I went to a place where there was a bear that could attack me. I went into the situation knowing that was a possibility.
Hmm.
But if you just walk down the street, could be anyone at any time for any reason because of their experience. And that is just that lack of accountability and control and emotional intelligence, the need for diverse emotional intelligence to understand that your lived experience is only one of 8 billion lived experiences. To believe that anything from an individual mind is right or wrong for anybody other than themselves is the hubris.
That leads back to the point, like, or not back that, but that's the same thing. You're having a conversation with somebody and they yell at you. What did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. They have a shitty day. Don't take everything personal. Let it go. Or if you feel offended by what they say to you or how they talk to you, then call them out on it. But that's another point that we don't do. We don't communicate. We don't ask people what's going on in their life. We don't want to know if they have a shitty day, even so I have the best day of my life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when you become aware, when you get a sense of the energy in the room, and that's why I love energy healing, because you learn to read the energy. You learn to know what's going on. You get a sense for it. You're in your intuition. Just basically, if you do awareness training energetically, open your five senses, read the room with your five senses, and you all of a sudden will see there's more information to be had. And you will see the couple that seems to be like having a nice conversation is actually arguing because they're sitting like this and they're talking. But yeah, or the ones that are looking like they have the biggest fun are actually killing each other in their minds.
Yeah. Sonder, is that the word? Sonder? Sonder. The reality that everybody is living a full and exquisite life that you know nothing about, even if you're married to them and sleeping with them every night, because so much of our reality happens out here and not out in the up in our brains and not out in the real world.
Yep. Yep. I used to have the tendency to still do that sometimes when I'm too much in my brain. I have full conversations and only say two sentences, and then everybody looks at you like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, I did it again. I said my sentence, and then I rambled already on and say the fifth sentence, and not the second, third, and so on. And
here I was so eloquent.
Exactly. Makes all sense in my brain, but it doesn't make yeah.
I will often ask a question and the people will just smile, like they're smiling and they're nodding and they're like, can you ask that another way? It was like, yes, let me begin again. Hold on. Let me figure out what I'm actually trying to say here.
Yeah, I try these days. I really try to step back when I try, like especially presentations and so on. In private conversations, it might still happen, but in presentations, I really try to see the faces and be cognitive about how I voice what I want to say, as to body language, as to facial expression, and also the words that I use. And sometimes it's a struggle because when I'm really tired and really overwhelmed, I switch back to English, to German sometimes.
Sure.
Or I'm not having either word because it's not coming to me. So I don't have it in German or in English. And that creates stress too. But then I just take a break, take a step back. And then if need be, I talk with hands and feet. That's how I spoke Italian. My Italian is very rudimentary, but I can explain everything with my hands and feet.
That's back to that energy healing, right? The body knows. We humans are not just floating brains. As much as we kind of sometimes behave like maybe that's how this works, it's not. And while our brain requires a lot of understanding, our body, the system that is the meat suit and hormone soup that has been navigating all of this for generations, it already knows so much. Energy healing. We had an event, so we just got through Conscious Growth Convergence, where 650 people showed up at Lost Valley Eco Village to sing and dance and pray and do workshops about intentional and conscious growth for the world. Fantastic, absolutely wonderful. And in that, oh no, I lost where I was going with this. I got distracted by CGC. Where was the
body knows.
The body knows. So one of the things that they were doing, so a lot of breath work happened. Thank you. Thank you for the diet. A lot of breath work was going on, a lot of dancing, so energetic healing, somatic movement, sort of lots of workshops are on that. And one of the instructors was doing a session. I'm trying to now remember the specific phrase, which it's of course just coming as a concept to me and not the perfect words they had. But the idea that when you say something like you need to pause and rest, you need to just take a breath. Like the body knows, your whole body, when you say something like have you eaten, your body is like, no, but that would be great.
Grumble,
Our body
grumble,
knows. And it whispers and it like nudges and then it eventually starts tantruming. Well, you might have to convince the brain, like have it understand why it is that you're hungry because you haven't eaten in 16 hours because you've been in hyperfixation mode. Cool. Your brain might need to know that to want to impact it, but your body is like, don't care, hungry. don't care, tired. And the more we get capable of hearing our own body speaking to us, the shockingly enough, that connection makes it easier to understand other people, partly because you understand your own energy, but you can see that in other people and bodies, that resonance, that literal reality that you are a giant magnet. You have iron pumping around you at massive temperatures. That creates a field, a current that is trackable, and other bodies can feel it.
That can be manipulated by energy healing, which they've proven. They've done measurements on the hands of energy healer, and they found that the electromagnetic field changes. Yes, it's easy.
It really, like, it is insultingly simple. And that means it will be the hardest work of our lives, right? Because one of the best ways to control humans, which has been the leadership standard since the second century, right? Come here, I'm going to tell you what to do, and you're going to do it. Because I'm, for some reason, am the more important than you person. Often because ordained by some deity, right? But for centuries, this has been a common way that our brains and pathways have been built. And dismantling that is so much work. And it starts by listening to ourselves, because one of the very first things that we teach children, right, is to raise their hand and ask to go to the bathroom, which means that their biological need is less important than the other people around them's need to not be disrupted. So we immediately start, and this is across the globe, one of these weird human things that we've been doing for so long to teach ourselves not to listen to our bodies. And if you're neuro spicy, if you are on a heavier spice side of that spectrum and you're not listening, you're missing data points that will keep you from burnout.
Yeah. Yeah. The interesting part is when you reconnect, and that's what I find with all of the mental health challenges. You're not connected with your body. You're not listening. You're not, and the only thing is, you have these days, kids are very good at that. Usually they are retrained not to listen to it. But when you get back to it and you start to listen to your intuition, and that's basically, you just got to learn the language. So for me, for instance, when I get cues, it's some part is auditory, some part is visual. So I know that I had a teacher who did therapeutic touch, and she had her cues smell, but they were not talking about smell. They were only talking, what do you feel? What do you, not even what do you sense, but what do you feel? So we switched the language. My mom was the same. She said, I never feel anything, because she was waiting for a tactile feeling. And then we switched the language while I was training. We switched the language to, what do you sense? What comes to mind? And then it opens up for, okay, what do you sense in your body? Where do you sense it? How? And all of a sudden you speak a different language and you understand more.
Yeah. Sense over, I'm writing that down because I love that. Yeah. Because it is, right? We're full circle back to the boxes we started with. We get so fixed on what this term means, what feel means. So we're looking for that tactile feeling, like a soft thing or a rough thing, because we're not taught to listen to how the inside feels. Like, oh, that makes my shoulders really tight, or ooh, that gives me kind of a rumbly in my tumbly, or ooh, I don't know, but my whole foot just tensed up. Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I love it since I grew into it, and we actually, me and partner, created a course that's called Raising Bioenergetic Awareness. But I didn't realize at that point that we actually translated or gave people the ability to learn a different language, and that's the language of energy, right? It's the language, it's their personal language. It's not my language, it's theirs, because they get their cues in their way. But when you start learning that somebody offers you the color red, so first question is, how do I do that? Well, one of our pointers was that become a red flashlight, right? Just beam a red light onto the other person. And online is really cool because nobody questions distance. That's the other part. And then the other person goes like, they didn't know what they were receiving, but she goes, and then I tasted a red apple in my mouth.
Huh.
So hers was taste, right? And the more you play with that, the more you explore with that, you can activate all of your five senses, and you can explore how you sense and what comes to mind. And all of a sudden you have a big picture instead of that thing.
Right. Yeah. It's we're back to the same but different, right? So we're talking about emotional awareness around existence, right? Like how your body exists in the world. And the more aware you are of that, the more you can impact how your body exists in the world. It's a tangible power. It's the same as understanding that whatever your trigger is yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, it doesn't have the same thing. It's because awareness. So, guys, we figured it all out. I love this. Here's our wrap up. It's simple. Everything is so simple. Just become aware of the things that are in your way and then impact it so you have power and control. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, no, I that's putting it basically into the words like wake. I don't like the word wake up. It's not waking up. It's open your mind and to the possibility there's more, and explore that more and see where you find that more, because it doesn't have to be like, as I said, it doesn't have to be a hearing sense. It it can be something that you feel, it can be something that you smell, it can be something that you taste. But as soon as you include your body into the situation, you will see that everything changes, because the physical cues are there way earlier than your brain can actually translate what's going on.
Yeah.
Because the limits of the brain are just limits. That's the thing. There is so much opportunity and possibility in bringing in your whole body, your all 5, 10, 15, 16,000 dimensions that you are. Bring everything in and start playing with everything instead of just one thing, which is that one up here. That's not your friend.
And it is your friend. It's just your kind of shitty multi-layered friend who sometimes makes really bad choices and gets you into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
It wants the best for you.
It wants the best, but the best is not always the best. That's the thing, and it is hard to change way.
And that's so much of how we are our way is so groomed and conditioned into us that we're not even aware whether it is do I think that is right or wrong because I think that is right or wrong, or do I think that is right or wrong because I was taught that is right or wrong? They call it the second voice, right? The first voice you
Kids,
hear.
go for kids that don't want to hug or kiss
Yes.
somebody.
Yes.
Why force them to hug uncle or aunt or whatever?
Do not do that. That is grooming your child to be. Don't do that.
Yeah, but it starts there. It's really early. They have the reason why they don't want to do whatever reason that is.
Allow them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they have a pretty good sense of self for the most part.
Yeah. Kids are fantastic teachers.
Yeah.
Kids will out loud do their second voice, right? They'll say, "No, I don't want to do that." Actually, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like as one giant sentence. Like you'll watch them process. They're like, "No, that's not nice. Wait, yes, actually, I totally want to do that anyway." And you're like, "Cool, man. I get that."
Yeah, yeah. I tell my clients and my students, I tell them to become the child and explore. Be open. Don't
Yes.
go, this is this way. No, be open. Color
Yeah.
outside the lines. See what's on
Mm.
the other side of the box. Look over your plate and see what's going on there, because there is so much opportunity around. And what I found interesting too was when we started raising bioenergetic awareness, we had quite a few empaths come in, and all of a sudden they came out of the course and they said, I know, no, I'm fine because I can discern what is mine and what is theirs.
That it really is as simple as starting with your magic three. Are you controlling the things in your life that you have control over? If you feel burnt out, overwhelmed, exhausted, frustrated, fatigued, any of those things, if you jack back your energy to where you actually have control, power, and impact, then the world becomes less scary and you can start
Mhm.
to intentionally have that impact.
Yeah. And that, for instance, can be, and was in my case, owning up to your mistakes.
It's
Not
a
fretting
big part
about
of it.
what others say. Just go up front head, like when it happens, go there and
Yeah.
say, this has happened. It's my mistake. I'm sorry about that it happened, but I cannot change it. What can we do to make it better? Right?
Yes. I can't go backwards. I can go forward. Here's my plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the neuro spicy mind, that's one of the things that we talk about is the difference between an excuse and a reason. So an excuse, and it can literally be the same sentence, really, but an excuse excuses you from any responsibility. You cannot be held accountable or held responsible. You can't actually hold someone accountable. That's a whole side soapbox. You cannot be held responsible because such thing. I have a neuro spicy brain and I struggle to remember things. I can use that as an excuse. I can be like, well, that's just, there's nothing I can do about it, which is obviously a lie. We always can do something about things. So we have some choice somewhere. Well, we can just excuse ourselves. Or we can use it as a reason, like, okay, so I did not make that meeting with us each because I have a neurospicy brain and it forgets things. And that did not go into my calendar. And if it's not on my calendar, it's not real life. So here's what I need for us to do going forward. If you do not see me putting it on the calendar, I'm gonna need you to call me out on that and be like, Cara, did you put that on your calendar? And I will say, thank you so much for the reminder. Let me do that literally right now.
Yeah. Or you have a
That's a
meeting
reason.
and you agree to do something by then and then. If you don't have your answer by then, just check in with me. That's another one.
Yeah.
As I said, I do the sunshine because I have a hard time remembering names. It takes a long time. Some people stick right away, some people never. And you see, I even got yours wrong in the beginning. And I had it written down. But the thing is, sunshine for me, I is not a derogative term to cope with what I'm not able to cope.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are sunshines for me, so I call you sunshine. And the other thing is, it's also often it uplifts the other person because I'm acknowledging them as
Yeah.
something that I value in my life right now. And yeah, it's just find your way to make it work for you and to make it work
Yeah.
for other people too. So it's not
Yes.
a
Stop
letting down.
excusing yourself.
Yeah, it's not an excuse. It's a way, it's a workaround. I explain why. And I have a name for others that is not derogative. That's the other thing, right? It's not hey darling or sugar or whatever. It's sunshine. Because it's a neutral way or more uplifting way actually to communicate with others when I better than hey you.
Yeah. And you communicate about it. Right, that's probably the biggest part of it. Whatever placeholder word that you use for that matters less than the fact that you communicated it, that you made the point of saying, hey, I have, you know how people have face blindness, I have name blindness. I'm working on it. So if I cannot remember your name, I'm going to call you Sunshine
Mhm,
because I think that you are wonderful and sunshiny, and that makes me happy to see you. I
mhm.
hope it makes you happy, and feel free when I do that to be like, oh, right, I'm Cara.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I don't mind telling you I don't remember your name either.
That,
But
the,
it's because people and I've been there too. People expect you to remember the name. You had a conversation, you had a long conversation, and then they're talking to you, and it's like they're not talking to you because they don't acknowledge you,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Just because I don't remember your name doesn't mean I don't remember holy bunches of what we talked about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember holy bunches about your life. I still don't remember your name. I'm so sorry.
Can you
That's not, that
half an
didn't
hour later,
expect
can you tell me who you are?
that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we're not excusing ourselves for this behavior. We're finding a way for it to be a reason we've come up with a solution. This is a very common neuro spicy trope. It's one of the reasons that getting diagnosed autistic or divergent is so challenging, because when you are neuro spicy and living in a world that struggles with that, you have already been groomed and conditioned to come up with solutions, right? You don't have a problem with that. You have a system for it. I don't have an issue with that. I solved that ages ago.
We have never problems, challenges. We have challenges, and challenges
Challenging
problems is
solutions.
what we make out of them, right?
Processing. Yes. Things that I write things down, 14,000 books throughout my house so I can take a note. Yeah.
Do you find them all when you need them, or is it just you just need to
No.
jot it down?
No. More often than not, simply the act of writing it down is enough. I have recently learned from a psychotherapist that there are psychotic hacks, psycho hacks. I don't psychotic, like in a good way though.
Yeah.
That sounds really bad. But like ways that you can hack your brain for that, like just writing in the air, holding the faux look of holding a pen and just writing in the air will act for your brain like writing it physically down, if that's one of those systems that works for you.
If you need
I feel
the hand movement, like the motion in it, yeah.
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 If I have to spell out loud, I have to write it as I'm saying it. Like my hand is going, like I'll be talking to somebody and they'll be like, how do you spell that? I'll be like, Rieciep, yeah. I don't even know if that's right.
But isn't it wonderful that we're also diverse?
That. And the more that we lean into it, the better the world gets.
Yeah. But it's only acknowledging that we all are some kind of spicy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Like everybody, if there are 8 billion people on the planet, there are 8 billion right ways to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can just be okay with that, that means we get the opportunity to maybe learn another right way to do things. And that might be beneficial to us. It might not. There are times when it will not be. There will be times where taking that information, you're like, oh, I learned what doesn't work for me. Awesome. Thank you for.
Honestly, that's a good way too. Because if it doesn't work, at least you know that.
Yes.
So you learned something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we learned a lot today and we went on quite a bit. So I'm calling it quits now.
That's it. That's our good wrap up spot.
I know we can go on for another hour.
It's good conversation.
It is, and I love the way that it flows, that there's even so I come from not having had that language to being able to converse with you in that language. I love that and I appreciate that.
Yay. I love that too.
Thank you so much. And I hope that anybody who wants to get in contact with Cara or learn about the Cara method, check her out. Her information will be on the bottom of the video. Yeah, not the video, the description.
Bottom of the podcast, yes.
And reach out to her and you probably will be seeing more of her or hearing more about her because I don't plan on let her go. I like the conversation too much. So we'll put her back on. Yeah. So thank you so much, Cara. And we'll see you soon.
Hey, Natasha.
Thoughts are racing, spinning fast. Ideas flow, but never last. Waves of wonder, thoughts untamed. Nothing ever stays the same. Rambling on, no straight lines. Welcome to my busy mind. Ideas fade,